so hello everyone. My name is Yunita, and for the third project, I am reviewing robotics emotional state in human robotic interaction. And so there will be three systems that I'm going to present for in this presentation. The first is emotion system, and then affective model that used for the non-expensive agent robot, and then emotionally expressive robot. I did the human-robot interaction because of character of this Japanese manga series, Doraemon, written and illustrated by Fujiko Fujio. He is an earless body cat and travels back from the 22nd century to aid a boy named Nobita Nobi. He has really cool gadgets to help Nobita and his friends to solve their daily life problems. So the first system that I'm going to present is emotion system. They categorize the emotion based on their duration, and then in the case of positive mood, the needs can be satisfied much easier than in the case of negative mood. They have these pre-emotions. On the upper side is a very short-term emotion triggered by single stimulus from the environment, and then sub-emotions that can be linked to certain events related to the priorly remembered experiences in illustrations. And they have sub-emotional qualia, which is the private emotions of the agents, and then the classic emotion, where they get from the result of the interplay between the current sub-emotion, pre-emotion, and the level of meeting the needs, the previous emotional state, and the effect of calming down. And then they have equalia, which is a dual private or individual side of emotions, and the mood, which is a long-lasting emotional state based on a specific difference of classical emotion. They model their emotion based on rainbow of emotion into the fuzzy model. Here, the novelty introduced a common and explicit neutral state of stability in the middle, and then it prevents the direct transition between intense extreme emotions, and it reverses of the values of the emotion function. So you can see there in the islet is the emotion zone, and then the small darker color is the distinct emotion zone, and the bigger area is the fuzzy zone. So they tested their system, emotion system, in X-driver agent, where in virtual environment, with a simple road scenario, including traffic disruption in the form of a pedestrian on the road. The pedestrian is seen here in the purple color, and then so the first stage of the X-driver system simulation, it was the behavior similar to cruise control. And in the second state, when the X-driver saw the pedestrian on the road, the X-emotion system developed its emotion. It started from at mile age 445. So the emotion is indifference, and then distracted by the pedestrian, and then fear, surprise, and with the reaction is emergency brake, and then continue to fear, terror, and again terror, and then they have the speed, the velocity here at that time is 0, and then surprise and increase the speed when the driver passed the pedestrian. So this is the second system, is affective model for non-expensive robot. It described the affective model for an autonomous agent based on emotions and mood, and the decision making is influenced by affective factors when interacting with humans. There's two parameters here, immediate emotions and expected emotions. In that, the agent reads the sensors, ST, and on top, and interpret the environment, and then read the action from the user, BT, and generates immediate emotions and mood, and modify weights, where the weight is based on the objectives, where the basic objective related with safety and big charge, and upper objective is related with social interaction. And then update the forecasting model and generates the expected emotion. And if expected emotions and immediate emotion is larger, or immediate emotion larger than impulsive threshold, it will go to trigger the impulsive behavior. But if not, it will compute the maximum expected action. And here their experiment on ISOE1. The figure A is fear, where very lowered eyebrows, raised eyelids, wide open mouth, and shaking its head from side to side. And then the figure B is hope, which raised eyebrows, highly raised eyebrows and eyelids, and open and curved significantly upwards mouth, and moving its head smoothly from side to side. And the figure C is happiness in yellow. Has straight eyebrows, raised eyelids, and mouth curved significantly outwards and rising its head. And the last one is sadness, with the color blue, with the lowered eyebrows, very lowered eyelids, and closed mouth, curved significantly outwards, and lowering its head. So the result that the performance of the agent is tested in front of the benevolent and malevolent users. And when facing a malevolent user, the agent is focusing on basic objectives related with safety and big charge. And when facing a benevolent user, the agent is comfortable and safe and assign computational resources to upper objectives related with social interaction. And the third system that I will present is emotionally expressive robot, where they have two different architecture. The first one is Mars, where the system detected the user affect using a unique combination of body language and vocal intonation, and then combine the two using multimodal classification using a Bayesian network, and then define its emotion using a innovative two-layer model consisted of deliberative and reactive layers. And the proposed architecture has been implemented by a small humanoid robot to perform diet and fitness counseling during HRI. So this is the proposed architecture. The input is from the Kinect sensor and the microphone. The Kinect sensor is to extract the body language feature, and the microphone is for the vocal intonation. And it has 2D balance and arousal for each body language and vocal, and then combine the two with multimodal affect fusion. And then to determine the robot emotion, they use robot emotion model. And in this part, the REM utilizes the user's affect levels, and it consists of two modules, deliberative emotion model and reactive emotion module. And the robot deliberative emotions is the main decision-making layer, in charge of determining the emotional state of the robot based on user affect and interaction input, and its own desires and drives. And then for the reactive emotion module, influenced by the robot's previous emotional expression, the user's affect and interaction inputs. And the experiment was performed in Look Now robot. The figure A is low intensity happiness, B is low intensity interested. C is high intensity sadness, and D is high intensity worried. E is high intensity anger with the yellow eye, and F is scared when touched. So this is the description of the previous figure, where in happiness the eye color is green, and with focal intonation, high pitch and fast tempo, and the body language, the robot will slowly look upwards and raises its right arm and brings it down quickly for the low intensity happiness. And for the high intensity happiness, the robot dances by swiftly swinging its hip from side to side and moving its arm back and forth. And for low intensity, for interested state, it has yellow color eye, and with a fast tempo focal intonation, the robot will lean forward, looks up, and brings its hands together. In low intensity interested, and in high intensity interested, the robot leans forward, looks up, nods quickly, and stretches both arms forward. And for the sadness, the eye color will change to blue with low pitch and slow tempo vocal intonation. The robot bends forward slowly and looks down for the low intensity sadness, and the slowly weeps into its forearm for the high intensity sadness. And for worried state, they have violet eye color with high pitch focal intonation. The robot will crouches down, covers both its eyes with its hand, and shakes its head slowly for low intensity worried, and puts the back of its hand on its forehead and shakes its head for the high intensity worried. And also for the anger, the color of the eye will change to red, and the focal intonation will go to high pitch fast tempo. The robot will lean forward slightly with both hands on its hip and then shake its head rapidly. And then for the high intensity anger, the robot waves its arm furiously in the air. And for the eye color for the scared state, it's orange, where the focal intonation is high pitch and fast tempo. When the robot picked up, the robot will freeze in places and remain stationary when being picked up by a user. And the robot quickly takes one step back, leaning backwards, and raises both hands to protect its face when it's touched. And the robot covers its eyes quickly with both hands if it's on the edges of the table, because the position of the user and the robot itself is, the user is here and the robot is like on the edge of the table. So that's it for my presentation, and this is the reference that I use for this presentation, and thank you very much.
Well, thank you. So I want, everybody should have a chance to ask some questions, but I just, there was something I was sort of interested to know right away. I think your second case, there was a discussion about malevolent
Yes.
and benevolent.
Yes.
So who decided, or how was that decided?
So for the benevolent user, they will like when the choose action will be like flatter, speak, and play, but for the malevolent, they will like move, attack, something, or ignore the agent.
Okay, so it was based on observation of the behavior.
Yes, so in the paper they mentioned that they play rock and scissors game, and so, and then the robot will ask, "Will you play again?" Something like that, and then the user will react based on that.
Okay, interesting. Some more thoughts, questions?
I guess my main thought is, I'm trying to remember I think you sent us a link about some semantic vision mapping or stuff. Somebody at one point in the semester, I'm just it's analogous to that in my head. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was you said.
Yeah, I don't remember that exactly, but that is right, that you can associate words and actions. And what strikes me about all of these experiments or all these cases is that we're basically trying to put it into human understandable context, except the last one, which changes the eye color. And, you know, usually we don't, right? We only have one eye color, but you can kind of tell if somebody gets flushed that they're in an emotionally charged state. So sometimes you can see by looking at a person, you know, maybe a little bit of color change, but getting to know what color means what emotion might be a little bit of a learning process, right? So I had a little robot dinosaur that I used for demonstrations for a while. I gave it to my nephew, but it would do the same thing, not as many different colors, but it had a few different colors and the whole body would light up. So you were supposed to know, and it would vocalize also. So you were supposed to get a sense of how it felt and what it wanted. So that's kind of interesting.
I have a general question. What are the purposes usually for such robots? Like entertainment? Or
Yes, more to the social robot, like human robot attraction. So like it can be used for pet, like the cat pet, and then for medical purpose, where the last example that the robot is kind of the instructor for health and diet, fitness.
like patient care? Or?
Yes, yes,
Oh.
yeah, something like that.
Right.
Do you see any situations where maybe the robot wouldn't have full access to every emotion?
Yes, I think there's a because they only have, like, for example, in this in this one they only have 4 emotion: fear, hope, happiness, and sadness. And and I don't, for me myself, I cannot even read the robot's emotion by I just read the description, but I cannot read what the robot's saying based on the face of this one. And also in the last figure,
Right.
for the look robot. So I think still have a lot of needs to develop.
There's definitely room for improvement. Yeah.
Yes.
Would you mind to go back to the color wheel, the 2D fuzzy model?
Okay. Yes, this one.
Why was the orange one checkered out?
It's just an example of where it has an example from the vigilant state goes to amazement state. Something like that. It has another fuzzy graphic, but I didn't show it here.
Okay, thanks.
All right, anything else? Well, thank you very much again. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.